This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
On the news this morning, court orders Shell to pay Ogoni people 45.9 billion naira fine. Federal government to reintroduce tolls for federal road and bridges. State school in Umwebulu, Eche, among schools in River State where people still sit on bare floors to learn. River State Universal Basic Education Board to look into the state of some schools in the state. On the foreign scene, cryptocurrency heist hacker returns $260 million in funds. I am Ifiemi Andrew. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered Shell Petroleum Company to pay the sum of 45.9 billion naira to the Ogoni people. Justice Ahmed Mohammed, who gave the order on Wednesday, held that the money must be paid within 21 days. The sum is a cost awarded against the company several years ago for oil spill in Ogoni land. A spokesman said the payment would mark the full and final settlement to the Ejama Ibubu community over a spill during the 1967-70 Biafran War. Shell has maintained that the damage was caused by third parties. In his submission, counsel to Shell Petroleum Company Aham Ejelamo informed the court that his client had agreed to make the payment. He proposed that the money be paid through the registrar of the court in a bank about to be opened for the purpose. But Justice Mohammed ruled against the request and ordered that the payment be made within the period given through the account of the lawyer to the Ogoni people, Mr. Lucius Wonsu. Meanwhile, 10 years after the UNEP report on Ogoni land was submitted to the federal government, civil society organizations are calling on the government to show seriousness in the cleanup process. They're asking for an environmental audit of the entire Niger Delta and a region-wide cleanup exercise. Chima Williams of the Environmental Rights Action and Friends of the Earth Nigeria spoke to correspondent Shoma Zemafo on this.
For the entire Ogoni land to be cleaned up means that there should be no more spills. But as it is that the situation, and that situation can only be attained where every Ogoni person is made to be part and parcel of the implementation process of the UNEP report. And this will give them ownership. This will include making sure that no new spills occur, so that those that have occurred already, when cleaned up, remediation can take place.
As you may know, the UNEP report on Ogoni land was submitted to the federal government in 2011. The cleanup was formally flagged off on June 2, 2016. The United Nigeria Airline aircraft dropped the first commercial flights to begin operations at the Bayelsa State International Airport. The aircraft took off from the Murtala Mohammed Airport to Lagos at 3 p.m. The plane had on board the state governor, Senator Doyediri, the airline chairman, Chief Obiora Okonkwo, Tokyo Olympics 2021 silver medalist in wrestling, Bayelsa-born Blessing Oborududu, King Alfred Dieter Spieth, among other dignitaries. Addressing a crowd on arrival, Governor Diri said full commercial flights would commence in 2 weeks.
This is the maiden commercial flight of United Nigeria Airlines. By me here is the chairman of United Nigeria Airlines. And so from today, this one is the special one. Now you can book online. You can now book, and we hope that by next week or thereabouts, they will commence the usual commercial flights from Lagos to Yenagoa and from Abuja to Yenagoa. Daily flights.
The governor also noted that commencement of commercial flights signaled the economic development of the state by bringing Bayelsa to the world and the world to Bayelsa. The federal government says the concession of 4 major airports in the country is open to all qualified entities except state governments. The Minister of Aviation, Senator Adi Sirika, made this known at a Zoom meeting on Tuesday to update the sector on the concession plans for the 4 international airports: Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano; Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos; Port Harcourt International Airport; and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Sirika explained that the concession is a step in the right direction as it will boost the nation's earnings. The Federal Executive Council has approved tolls for federal roads and bridges. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola told State House correspondents that the policy will also provide regulation for a legal framework of the tolling plan. Fashola added that Council approved that only dual carriageways of 35,000 kilometers should be eligible for tolling by the federal government.
We have proposed and council has approved that certain types of vehicles be exempted from paying tolls. Those are bicycles, pedal cycles, tricycles, motorcycles, and other modes of 2- or 3-wheeled transport used mainly by disadvantaged members of our community. They will be entitled to a fully 100% exemption. The big step to actual tolling was taken today by presenting for approval the broad policy that will guide the tolling, so that local people, states, local governments, all those who manage roads, investors who want to come in, will know what our tolling policy is.
Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed says the Twitter ban in Nigeria will be lifted soon. The minister stated this while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the virtual Federal Executive Council meeting. He, however, listed the establishment of a Twitter office in Nigeria, country representative, and taxation as some pending issues to be finalized.
The end for an amicable solution is very much in sight. The engagement has been extremely positive. They admitted that they've never received any kind of professional communication from any country as they received from us. One of the conditions that we set was that in line with Nigeria's Companies and Allies Matters Act, Twitter should establish legal presence in Nigeria. Must also register with relevant regulatory authorities like NITDA, NCC, the Broadcasting Commission. Because we are very concerned about contents that are liable to jeopardize the security, unity, and sovereignty of Nigeria. Because we also have they should immediately also start paying VAT and other tax liabilities.
Recall that Twitter's activities were indefinitely suspended in Nigeria on June 4, 2 days after the social media giant removed the post of President Buhari that threatened to punish regional secessionists. Still ahead, state school in Umwebulu, Iche, among schools in River State where pupils sit on bare, dirty floors for lack of desks and chairs. Stay tuned. The state school in Umwebulu, Iche local government area of River State, is among schools where pupils sit on bare floors to learn. Our correspondent who visited the school reports that children stand up occasionally to stretch their legs. The roofs of the classrooms look like they're going to cave in soon. Some concerned stakeholders in the area spoke to our correspondent.
No chairs, the children sit on bare floor, no windows, no doors. Before we learn in the morning, We must first of all sweep out excreta from the classes. Everywhere is messed up.
Some of them cannot even write well because there are ribs in them. If you look at our board, sometimes they will remove it. When we come, we look for improvise to help our children.
This situation has lasted for more than 5 years. Every weekend they come and remove our zinc. We need security. Please, government should come and help us and fence this place. You can see, even women are using our environment to do water leaf. This is the only existing school in this Umebele.
An indigenous of Ifiemi local government area, Reginald Onwuka, says the condition of some public schools is so bad that no pupil will like to go to school when it rains.
Let me tell you, it's not only in Abok, in Amako, Ibodo, same thing is happening there. At this jet age, people are still learning with stones laid on the floor for them to use as best, learning in that condition. What would the children learn? What would that child know? The truth is that the state government, the local government, these are their primary functions. They need to come to these places and see what ought to be done to ameliorate the sufferings of the people. Education, like they said, is the bedrock of the society. And when those children can't get it right, they turn to be hoodlums in the society, making the place uncomfortable for others.
It was no different in Community Secondary School Okoronodu in Obiakpo local government area where NECO exams are ongoing. With no toilet or water supply despite overcrowded classrooms, students defecate outside. At the junior secondary section, students sit on dusty floors to copy notes from the blackboard. Recall that over 30 billion naira was allocated to the education sector in this year's budget by the River State government. While presenting the 2021 budget last year, Governor Nyesom Wike had promised to deliver a comprehensive access to quality public education for Rivers people. However, tertiary institutions in the state like the River State University received 16.6 billion naira from the state government for the upgrade of facilities in March. The state government donated 500 million naira to the Palmo University of Medical Sciences a couple of months ago, and a year after it, gifted the same school 500 million naira. Meanwhile, the Rivers State Universal Basic Education Board has promised to look into the state of some schools in Karibi George. The Director Administration and Supplies Public Relations told our correspondent that the state government is taking note of the report by Nigeria Info and will include the affected schools in its plans subsequently.
There is an open bidding process for renovation and reconstruction of schools. And I want to think that your investigation in HA must have shown a couple of schools where the government has recently intervened. So resources are limited, but where there is a need for urgent intervention, it is usually where the head of the school, the community, and media bring such reports to our attention. And let me also add that in taking personal responsibility, a head teacher or principal personally brings the report in writing. We have taken notes of it. But as I said, there is a queue, and our action plan for federal government intervention projects for this year is already concluded. We cannot add that school, no matter how desirable it might be. It can only be queued for subsequent years.
The executive chairman of the local government area, Obinanyanwu, says his administration will not be distracted in its quest to provide purposeful leadership that is anchored in giving life to the aspirations of the people and entrenching a development paradigm in the area. Dr. Anyanwu, who spoke through his chief press secretary Robinson Olwo at a media briefing yesterday in Port Harcourt, said currently 10 completed and ongoing projects have been cited across 10 wards, which were unanimously nominated by its people as their priority development needs at the time. He said Dr. Anyanwu was delivering democracy dividends to the citizens through his agenda of citing 19 projects across the 19 wards in Iche. Robinson Olwo also clarified that the Igbodo Ward 14 community, where a dilapidated school was recently spotted, rightly nominated for another primary school at Umuinia Igbodo, is being rebuilt, and when completed, the pupils of primary school in Amaku Igbodo will be relocated. He added that the verifiable sterling achievements of the Anyanwu administration has made Ichie prominent in the Committee of Progressive Local Government Areas in the state. Our correspondent reports that the Ichie Council spokesman assured that all projects embarked by the Anyanwu-led administration would be delivered in record time, noting that the council chairman is not playing politics with the development of the Ichie local government area. Today is International Youth Day. It is celebrated annually on the 12th of August to bring youth issues to the attention of the international community, as well as to celebrate the potential of youth as active partners in the global society. Former President of National Youth Council of Nigeria, Success Jack, has called on the federal government to urgently adopt the recommendation of setting up a youth development fund.
We have proposed before now a youth development fund, which is supposed to draw about 1 or 2%, or even if it's 1%, 0.5% from every contract executed in Nigeria. Go to even common Sudan, go to other countries, you see the youth council presidents of those countries in charge. But in Nigeria, I think that is a deliberate bastardization scheme so that they will keep the youth. They don't want opposition. I know that the National Youth Council of Nigeria has submitted positions in that regard severally, and that's why they keep balkanizing the National Youth Council of Nigeria.
In an interview with correspondent Suebiru Wari, he accused the political class of deliberately creating situations that will deny the youth their rightful place in the polity.
The political elite are deliberately creating situations that makes it impossible for the youth to thrive. When somebody finishes school and you tell him, give me 6 years experience, 4 years experience in job, and when is he going to get it? He will never get the job. Then he now has to go through somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You see the issue of the Nigerian youth. I contested for House of Reps in the last general election. When you now make the purchase of form 4-point-something million for House of Reps that I went for, how many youth can afford it? When campaign tax so expensive, how many youth can afford it?
On his part, the executive director of We the People, Ken Henshaw, is urging the Rivers State government to adopt as a working document the newly drafted youth policy in the state. Mr. Henshaw said if the government pursues the provisions of the policy, it will drastically transform the ecosystem of the youth in the state.
I'm aware that the Rivers State government has a new youth policy for the state. It's a very detailed document. I had the opportunity of reading it. It's a new youth policy document for the state that has far-reaching potentials and far-reaching targets. That document has not yet been adopted as a working document, unfortunately. And unfortunately, no single part of that document has yet been implemented, even though it is over a year old. We would have wished that this day would have been used as an occasion to adopt the Rivers State youth policy. It would have been a great opportunity to use this youth day to adopt that document and begin immediately to implement the provisions there.
He said present and previous governments in River State have failed to implement policies of youth with an intention to distract them from playing their role.
The River State government, and I'm not just speaking about this government, this administration, I'm speaking about previous administrations also, right? At least in the last 20 years, there has been no deliberate policy implementation specifically aimed at lifting young people out of poverty and all that. So if you look at the approach from the year 2000 till now, the approach that governments have initiated in response to the needs of young people is always skills empowerment. And sports are always together. Because in the thinking of those who preside over the affairs of the state, young people need to be distracted. The purpose has never been to empower young people.
Our correspondent reports that the theme of this year's International Youth Day is Transforming Food Systems, Youth Innovation for Human and Planetary Health. Popular comedian Kale Baba Johnson is hosting a youth convention to mark the day. The event, which begins at 8 o'clock this morning at the Grace Place Event Center, Evo Road, GRA, Port Harcourt, will focus on capacity building and how young people can thrive in a fast-changing world. It will have the likes of Mark Angel, Emeka Nobis, Hero Weifu, Ibinabo and Makri, among others. The theme of the convention is Beyond Survival, Succeed and Sustain. The Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, in River State will today hold her 7th triennial conference at the Ernest Ikoli Press Center, Moscow Road, Port Harcourt. A statement jointly signed by the chairman of Credentials Committee, Victor Tew, and Secretary Ogboka Omeda, said the conference, which has as its theme the challenges of reporting in COVID-19 era, will be delivered by guest speaker Fis Albert Briggs. The statement added that Surveyor Emmanuel Obunda will serve as chairman of occasion, while the State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Paulinus Inserim, is the chief host. The statement further added that the conference will be used to elect state officers of the union that will run its affairs for the next 3 years.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.
The hacker behind one of the largest ever cryptocurrency heists has returned almost half of the $600 million stolen assets. Yesterday, blockchain platform Poly Network wrote a letter on Twitter asking the individual to get in touch to work out a solution. The website said the amount of money hacked was the biggest incident so far in the decentralized finance industry. On Wednesday, Poly Network said it had received $260 million, a total of $269 million in Ethereum tokens and $84 million in Polygon tokens are yet to be recovered. On the news this morning, you heard that a court has ordered Shell to pay Ogoni people 45.9 billion naira fine. The Federal Executive Council has approved tolls for federal roads and bridges. The federal government has hinted on lifting the ban on Twitter. State School in Nwebulu, the Chie local government area, among schools in River State where pupils sit on bare floors to learn. River State Universal Basic Education Board says it will look into the state of some schools. On the foreign scene, cryptocurrency heist hacker has returned $260 million in funds. The news was edited by Enoho Ogwevire. Contact our newsroom on 0818-900-0017. Cloudy weather expected in Port Harcourt this morning. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Good morning and thank you for listening.